The first rule of the morgue night shift is simple. You never acknowledge the cold breath on your neck. But last night, it whispered my name from a drawer I knew was empty. My name is Elias Vance, and for 3 years I've been the night custodian at St. Bartholomew's Memorial Hospital morgue. It's not glamorous, but it's quiet. Or it's supposed to be. The dead keep their own company, or so I thought. The real work happens during the day. My shift is about maintaining the chilling silence, logging deliveries, ensuring the refrigerated units hum steadily at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, and performing the final security sweep. The cold isn't just a temperature here. It's a thick, metallic-smelling presence that seeps into your bones and muffles the world outside. Fluorescent lights cast long, sterile shadows across polished steel and tile, and the only sounds are the constant, low thrum of the compressors and the occasional unsettling click or settle from the body drawers. You learn to ignore those. You learn to ignore a lot. Like the breath. It started maybe 6 months ago. Just a faint puff of icy air, like someone exhaling right behind you in the walk-in refrigerated storage unit. Unit C. Always in Unit C. It wasn't constant, just occasional. A ghostly sigh against the nape of your neck, vanishing the instant you froze or whipped around. Nothing there. Just the rows of silent steel drawers gleaming under the harsh light and the oppressive, chemical-laden cold. Dr. Armitage, the day pathologist, had been blunt during my first week. If you feel anything unusual back there, Elias, you ignore it. Don't look, don't speak, just finish your task and leave. It's the cold playing tricks. Acknowledge it, and you give it weight. So I followed protocol. I attributed it to drafts, faulty vents, my own tired mind weaving stories in the silence. I'd shiver, clamp down hard on the sudden spike of primal fear, and move on. But last night was different. I was in Unit C, checking the temperature log on the central panel near the back. The air hung heavy and still, the compressor's hum vibrating the floor beneath my boots. That familiar, impossible chill brushed my neck, sharper this time, carrying the faint, coppery scent of old blood beneath the antiseptic. I stiffened, gripping the clipboard, forcing my eyes to stay fixed on the digital readout. Ignore it. It's nothing, just the cold. Then it came again. Not just cold, not just air. It was a voice. Faint, impossibly thin, like wind through frozen reeds, yet horrifyingly distinct. It sighed directly into my ear, carrying the full weight of the grave's chill. Elias. My blood turned to ice water. Every hair on my body stood rigid. The clipboard clattered to the floor, the sound unnaturally loud in the tomb-like silence. Protocol shattered. I spun around, heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Nothing. Just the empty aisle between the towering banks of drawers. But the voice had been close, intimate, and it had come from there. My gaze, wide and terrified, snapped to the source, drawer 17C, middle row, waist height. My breath fogged violently in front of me as panic seized my lungs. Drawer 17C. I knew that drawer. It was empty. I'd personally logged its vacancy during the evening handover. The metal tag hung loose and clear. Logic screamed, impossible, hallucination, stress. But the icy imprint of that whispered name still burned on my skin, colder than the ambient air. A tremor started deep in my hands, spreading through my limbs. The thrumming of the compressors seemed to deepen, becoming a predatory growl vibrating in my teeth. Against every screaming instinct, against Dr. Armitage's ironclad rule, I took a step toward 17C, then another. The cold intensified with each movement, biting through my thin uniform jacket like needles. My footsteps echoed dully, swallowed by the hungry silence. Reaching the drawer felt like crossing an abyss. My fingers, numb and shaking, brushed the cold steel handle. The silence was absolute now. the compressors holding their breath. I pulled. The drawer slid open with a smooth, metallic hiss that scraped my nerves raw. Empty. Just pristine, cold stainless steel, gleaming under the overhead light. Relief, sharp and dizzying, washed over me. See? Nothing. Just your mind. Then the smell hit me. Not antiseptic, not decay, something older. Dank, like wet earth and forgotten stone. And under it, the faint metallic tang of fresh blood. A sound came from inside the empty drawer. Not a sigh, not a whisper. A wet, guttural click, like a tongue peeling off a frozen palate. It came from the very back, near the air vents. I staggered back, slamming the drawer shut with a crash that reverberated like a gunshot through Unit C. The sound seemed to hang in the air, followed instantly by a new sound, a low, rhythmic scraping. Metal on metal. Coming from inside the closed drawer. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was trying to get out. I didn't run. Flight was beyond me. I backed away, step by trembling step, eyes locked on drawer 17C, my breath coming in ragged, fogging gasps. The screaming grew louder, more frantic. Then abruptly, it stopped. The silence that followed was worse, thicker, heavier. It pressed in, charged with a terrible, waiting awareness. The cold wasn't just around me anymore. It felt like it was inside me, leaching the warmth from my core. A final whisper, impossibly soft yet piercing the silence like an icicle, seemed to emanate from the closed drawer, from the very walls, from the cold air itself. It didn't sigh my name this time. It held a single, chilling promise. Soon. I fled Unit C then, slamming the heavy door behind me, leaning against it in the marginally warmer anteroom, gasping. The main morgue didn't feel any safer. The shadows seemed deeper. The hum of the other units sounded like distant, mocking laughter. I finished my shift in a haze of terror, jumping at every creak, every drip, every shift in the light. I logged nothing unusual. Driving home as dawn bleached the sky, the heater on full blast couldn't touch the deep, penetrating cold lodged in my bones. It wasn't just the temperature of the morgue anymore. It was the cold of the grave, the cold of that whisper. It's still there. And the worst part? That final whisper wasn't just a threat. It was an acknowledgement. It knew my name. It knew where I worked. And it promised we'd meet again. The protocol was clear. Never acknowledge the breath. I broke it. And now, sitting in my silent apartment, the familiar, comforting hum of my refrigerator sounds unnervingly like the hum of the morgue compressors. The silence feels watchful, and a new, terrifying thought claws at my mind. If it found me in the cold silence of the dead, how long until it finds me in the quiet of the living? I thought the night shift was lonely. I was wrong. I'm not alone anymore. The cold breath has a voice, and it knows my name.